Hi everyone, it's been a couple of hours since I made my last Wolfpack tutorial, so well, here's another one. This one is really for the tryhards though, because it's a technique that you'll most likely never apply at all, but you know, the more you know the better. I always feel it's better to know more than less, and if it helps you appreciate the game a little bit more and get a little bit better situational awareness and such, well, there's that. What we're going to do today is shoot a torpedo and hit it as well, given only the target's range and the speed of our own torpedoes. That's all the information we need. We don't care about the angle on the bow, we don't care about the speed our target is moving, we don't care about its course, we don't care about any of that. Now, in this tutorial, I am not going to cover how to measure or derive range to a target. There are plenty of other tutorials available for that already. Plenty of different methods to do that as well, but should you be interested in how to do that, please let me know. Long story short, for this example, we presume to know how far our target is already within reason, within a certain margin of error, and we know our own torpedo speed. That's all we need to come up with a good torpedo solution, and in this example, we'll be using a steam torpedo which travels at 44 knots. Quite simply put, what we do when we calculate torpedo solutions, something the torpedo vooruitregner, as it's called, not the TDC, makes a lot easier for us, is something we can do manually in most cases as well, even when we have a couple of knowns. Simply put, we want to figure out in which direction we ought to put our eels in the water so that they collide with our target. In this case, we don't know the angle of the bow, we don't know the speed of our target, we don't know its course. The only thing we know is our range to the target and our own torpedo speed. Now, I said we don't know the target speed for this one, but before I get any slack from the other mathematicians out there, speed is implicit indeed, and we can derive that as well, but I won't be covering that in this tutorial. That's just a little disclaimer. A while ago, if you were paying attention, we picked up our target at a relative bearing of 3 to 0 and started the timer. We'll give her enough time so that she crosses our periscope at a relative bearing of 3 to 5 and see how long that took her. That does not give us her absolute speed, but it does tell us how fast she's moving sideways relative to us, or her change in apparent angular velocity over time, or whatever you want to call it, which is enough to come up with a firing solution. Let's do some maths now. If she passes 5 degrees in 90 seconds, that means she's sliding sideways at 5 over 90, meaning 0.566 repeating degrees per second. Once again, visual measurements are not absolute, and there's always some margin of error there, but it is surely good enough for our intents and purposes. Now, there are a couple of ways to solve for this equation, of course. We can rearrange it in many ways, but I find this one the easiest, so to speak. We know our range is around 26 hectometers. The runtime on our torpedo should be, here we go, 26 hectometers over 44 knots, is around 115 seconds, just shy of 2 minutes. We ask ourselves, how many degrees will she move sideways in those 115 seconds? Well, since we know she's moving sideways at a rate of 0.566 repeating per second, that'll be 115 times 0.566 repeating is about 6.4 degrees. That means that wherever she is now, we just need to shoot 6.4 degrees in front of her. For added tryharding, in this particular example we're using here, where our boat is heading directly north, we take 3 to 5, our relative bearing to our target, plus 6.4, the lead angle we need, is 331.4. We're on a course of 0, or 360, heading directly north, so if we subtract our own course from that relative bearing plus our lead angle, we need to go about 28 degrees to the left. Simply put, 360 minus 331.4 is 28.6. I set the TDC to that a little bit ago before we fired the shots, but okay. Pop it out, and about 2 minutes later, we might just get, to paraphrase the great rock and roll artist and philosopher Mick Jagger, not what we want, but what we need. Vette boy to all of you. Join me for a game as well sometime later with the 9th U-boat flotilla. A link to the Discord server is in the description. Take care.